Did you know that the first promise of redemption in the Bible comes right after humanity's greatest mistake? In Genesis 3, when all seemed lost, God whispered a hope that would echo all the way to the cross. Today, we're going to unravel that mystery and how it connects to Easter. The first whisper of hope. This week's theme is Whispers of Redemption, and we're starting our journey toward Easter from the very beginning of the Bible, Genesis. Genesis comes from the Greek word meaning origin. Although the author and date of the book are not conclusively determined, Genesis is traditionally attributed to Moses. It is an ancient and sacred text, full of beginnings and introductions to God's grand narrative. It is the inaugural act of the incredible story of creation, sin, and redemption that still impacts every area of our lives. In the book of Genesis, chapter 3, verses 8 through 15, it says, "The man and his wife heard the footsteps of the Lord God, who walked in the garden in the cool of the day, hid from the presence of the Lord God among the trees of the garden. But the Lord God called to the man, 'Where are you?' And he answered, 'I heard your footsteps in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked. So I hid myself.' And God said, 'Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree of which I commanded you not to eat?' The man said, 'The woman whom you gave to be with me gave me fruit from the tree, and I ate.' Then the Lord God said to the woman, 'What have you done?' The woman said, 'The serpent deceived me, and I ate.' Then the Lord God said to the serpent, 'Because you have done this, cursed are you above all livestock and above all wild animals. On your belly you shall crawl, and dust you shall eat all the days of your life. I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. It will bruise your head, and you will bruise his heel.'" Something to ponder. In less than a week, we will celebrate the resurrection of Jesus, the turning point of history and the heart of the greatest story ever told. We don't want to come to Easter unprepared. We want to come filled with hope, knowing God's eternal plan of redemption and ready to celebrate the profound spirituality that Christ's resurrection brings. Today, we begin a journey from creation to the cross to remember the significance of the Passover lamb. Jesus' work on Calvary was already present in history from the beginning, in subtle and hidden ways. The fall of humanity in Genesis 3 is one of the most devastating moments in the Bible. In their rebellion against God, Adam and Eve ate the forbidden fruit and turned away from their loving Father. It was a massive failure. With that one act of disobedience, all of creation fell into a broken reality from which there seemed no return. However, redemption often begins when failure seems definitive. The first whisper of hope in the Bible and the first indication of the cross occurs precisely at this moment of failure. In pronouncing the consequences of sin, God reveals an extraordinary promise to the serpent. "I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He will bruise your head, and you will bruise his heel." Verse 15. This is not just a curse. It is the first sign of redemption, a rescue plan that has already begun. God promises that a descendant of Eve will strike a blow at the enemy, showing Jesus' victory over sin and death. With the cross and resurrection, Jesus fulfills this promise and turns humanity's greatest mistake into a triumph. This moment is like finding a hidden clue in a mystery novel, a hint that reveals the author's grand plan. It reminds us that God's plan of redemption never fails, not because of Adam and Eve's mistake, nor because of ours. Take a moment to reflect on this question. Where do you see failure in your life today? Instead of letting it define you, look to God. Remember that the story isn't over yet. Today's passage, humanity's first whisper of hope, assures us that God is always at work, redeeming and restoring, weaving even our worst failures into His masterpiece of grace. Join us tomorrow as we delve deeper into Genesis and discover the next whisper of redemption. We'll reflect on Abraham's near sacrifice of his own son and ask ourselves, what exactly is God doing here? If you feel the weight of failure today, remember, the same God who turned the fall from Eden into redemption is at work in your story. Easter isn't just a date, it's proof that God's plan never fails. Let us know in the comments, where do you need that hope? And don't forget, tomorrow Genesis 22 will surprise you even more. See you then.